Okay, so today we're going to be talking about top 3 relationships that I think will really help you progress into an agency if you're trying to get into an agency. Sales success just generally is about who knows you and who you know, right? And sometimes you might be able to think of this like inbound and outbound sales. Inbound sales is really who knows you, who knows of you. And inbound means they know of you so that when the time's right, they're going to reach out and talk to you. Outbound is who you know. So you have this pool of people you know, and you're doing outbound. You're cold calling or warm calling, reaching out to those people. And so you could also think of this like your network or a leads list. We have a bunch of people. And that is at one level, just who knows you and who do you know. The next level, when you really think about this, is true sales success in the government contracting world comes from having relationships. If you've been in this market for a while, everybody will tell you that you need to have relationships to succeed, right? I can't tell you how many times I heard that over the last 20 plus years as I've been in this market. You must have relationships to succeed. And what I'll tell you and what I'll teach you today is the who and the how. You know, who should you have relationships with and how do you reach out to them and begin to build those relationships? There's this great cartoon about activity not equaling progress. And basically, it's about a guy who's just fully committed to climbing a ladder. He's just putting all his energy into it. He's climbing the ladder. He's doing a great job. And down below, his friend is looking up, yelling at him, "Wrong wall. You're on the wrong wall." And starting relationships, you can think of this the same way. Starting relationships can be easy, meeting all these people, maybe networking, but you need to make sure you're against the right wall. You need to make sure that you're talking to the right people. And when you do, you're going to start having the success that you look for. In particular, today's training, you're going to start getting in the door. And that's what I'm going to help with on today's training. Okay, so let's talk about these people who are going to open the federal agency doors for you. These are great people. And in fact, I'm very fortunate that today's training is happening in a week where I have really just fresh examples. I like always having fresh examples instead of what I did 20 years ago. I'm like, no, this is what I did 20 minutes ago. So there's 3 people I want to cover down on. I'm going to talk about them, and then I'm going to show you how to go find them. But small business professionals, so these are the agency personnel who are out there. We're going to talk about SBA's district office advocates. So there's several different roles within an SBA, Small Business Administration district office. So we're going to talk about those advocates and who they are, what their roles are. And then I'm going to wrap up with talking about finding small business winners. These are fantastic relationships. If you're trying to get into a particular agency and you find winners in that agency, small business winners, then they're folks who, if you build the right relationships, will open those doors for you. So that's what we're going to cover down on today's training. If that sounds good to you, put relationship rocks into the chat. Let's just get a Friday off to the start in a good way. If you don't know who I am, my name is Neil McDonnell. I am the president of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce, and I want to welcome you to my federal sales training, where I provide tips for success in the federal market. I spent 20 years in the federal market as a small business owner, and since 2018, I've been teaching people like you that government contracting is not a secret. It's just a process. When we follow a process A to Z, we're going to have repeatable, predictable results, and that's what I want for you. If you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to our Government Contracting Success newsletter. It's the largest government contracting newsletter on LinkedIn. It continues to grow because we continue to provide you value. If you want to hear about us covering certain topics, let me know. I'd love to have you give us specific things you want to hear about. Yesterday, I did a whole training because somebody like you reached out to me and said, "Hey, can you do a training on this?" I was like, "All right, let's do it." The other thing is we have almost 100 people registered for today's training. And I want to thank you for doing that. When you register for training, you're pushing the word out to LinkedIn and to the broader GovCon community that there's training over here and there's networking over here. You have this chance in the chat to meet other people. So thank you for registering for training, and then watch for me to release the next week's training coming out. Okay, let's get started with talking about small business professionals. Small business professionals, I use this term focus and receptivity, and it comes from a book Neil Rackman wrote called Major Account Sales Success. And in there, he talks about these 3 different roles that people can fall in. Focuses of receptivity, focuses of dissatisfaction, and focuses of power. Focuses of dissatisfaction are like the program office, they have the need. Focuses of power, contracting officer, they can sign a check or sign a contract, right? But the focuses of receptivity, these are people who have no particular need and certainly no power, but they're willing to talk with you. In particular, in the government space, small business professionals are receptive to talking with small businesses because that's literally their job. They're trying to find small businesses that can support the agency mission. And so their job is to help find those people and be a liaison, if you will, between the people with a need inside the agency and small business community. Focuses of receptivity will also, in addition to making the introductions, will also help you learn more about an agency. They can sit there and go beyond just what you can find on a website. If you're trying to find particular documentation to learn more, like, was there a industry day deck that maybe you can't find, or a strategic plan, these people can help you navigate to the right information or the right people who can get you that information. And then obviously, well, I don't want to say obviously, but another great thing that small business professionals can help you with is just hearing about opportunities. So there's opportunities that are out there. Of course, we can go into SAM and some other tools like that to find them, but it's so much better if you find a small business professional and you're building a relationship with them. Part of that receptivity is them saying, oh, I know you. Let me just let you know that this RFI is coming. They're not giving you inside information. They just know you and they're 𝗓𝗏𝗡s. This is a really important distinction I want to make. The 𝗓𝗏𝗡s, for the most part, are policy offices, policy people in policy office. They're at the top level working generally for the commander or the secretary of a particular agency or something. 𝗓𝗏𝗡s are really trying to make sure across the board, small business plans or small business policies are put in place and they're evaluating it constantly. Small business professionals, not that 𝗓𝗏𝗡s aren't that, but small business professionals, also known as small business specialists, they're another level down, and they are the ones who are close to the work, right? Again, this is a general way of talking about it, but small business specialists are tied together with the acquisition shop, the contracting officer, et cetera, and they know where the opportunities are. And many times they're part of that acquisition life cycle, making sure they're engaging small businesses during sources sought, et cetera. So yes, you can go to 𝗓𝗏𝗡s, but you want to look at 𝗓𝗏𝗡s as more of an escalation if you have to go there. But there's over 1,000 small business professionals. In the Navy alone, there's over 150. Similar things with the Air Force, with the Army. And that's just DOD, right? When you begin to go out, there's so many more. Department of Energy has a ton. The Army Corps of Engineers, they have a ton. And so you can find all of these people in a directory that we have. Right now, it's sitting on GovCon Chamber's website as a PDF. Actually, our goal is hopefully in July here, we'll get it out. But we're going to put this on GovConInAbox.com, and I'll talk to you more about that. But our tool set, GovConInAbox.com, we're going to put it out there so that it's actually a searchable database for you. And we no longer just put it out as PDF, and we make it a lot more functional for you. It'll always be free because I hated it when I didn't have that as a small business owner. And so we're putting it in there. Speaking of free, it does take sweat equity, though, a little elbow grease. And I just wanted to thank over 100 volunteers, just like you, who I put out the call on LinkedIn, and they came in and volunteered basically to everybody to grab a page each and go off and call those small business professionals, validate their information, email them, see if they have any updates to their information so that we can have the most up-to-date directory. So in July, you'll see us put that out. And again, that's next week or two. But I really want to thank the volunteers. They put in tons of time, hundreds of hours collectively to get this done. And I really appreciate that. I wanted to just give you an example of why small business professionals are so valuable out there. There are people that you can run into that sometimes they're good and sometimes they're bad. There's a reason we say there's always a bad apple in the bunch, right? There's a phrase like that. Well, don't let a bad experience with a PTAC, with a small business professional, with a contracting officer, or whatever, sully your view on the entire group. Small business professionals, you can find fantastic ones. And I wanted to give you two examples that just happened this week. And so literally one today and one yesterday. So yesterday, I was on a call with a customer in our workshop. And in this call, I was talking to them about their team's pipeline. And their team is putting opportunities in the pipeline. And I was talking about how they need to look at the pipeline and review it and to identify opportunities to make sure they're moving forward. Once they're in the pipeline, are they moving forward? Anyways, long story short, I was looking at the points of contact field in the pipeline saying, when I don't see a lot of names, then I think that we're not reaching out to the government on that opportunity. And so you need to at least have the small business professional. we took an opportunity, identified the small business professional literally on that call that I was having with him. We just called on our phone. I called into the Army small business professional. I just said, hey, we're just trying to reach out and find out if we could schedule an introduction call and talk to you about us supporting the Army. Couple of calls later in the same day yesterday, and my customer is meeting with them right now. And this small business professional, the coolest thing is they said, let's meet. I want to learn about what your company does so then I can help you get introduced to the 3 commands I support. That's the type of help these people will give you getting into agency doors, right? That's the purpose of today's training. And another example right after that is the same company, a different person who's in charge of business development did the same thing. They reached out to a small business professional who said, hey, let's get scheduled, and talk about how I can introduce you into our commands, the customers internally that they support. So this happens over and over and over again with our customers, and it can happen to you all by yourself. You don't need me or my team. Just download the directory, begin to reach out to small business professionals. Do not spam them, right? Specifically target them and then reach out purposefully. Really quick, just to stick with this point one more time, this particular set of Army folks that we're reaching out to came from the Army Contracting Command. And the way we were able to find some of their information and understand a little bit about them was they had an industry day. And in there, they had guidance about do this before you call us and don't do this when you try to talk with us. You want to find those documents so you can learn what they think before you even talk with them. That way you don't show up and they say, don't wear a blue shirt. And I show up and I'm wearing a blue shirt. They're like, we hate blue. Blue's Air Force or something. It's like, you wear green only. It's like, all right, cool. So anyway, small business professionals. The next one is the SBA district office. This one, if you're not familiar with the Small Business Administration's value to government contractors, is they get tons of money, a couple of $100 million a year just to support the government contracting space. 50 million just for the 8A program, 10 million or so for Hub Zone program. So the collective, they have a lot of money. And across the country, there are 68 district offices that are the point of delivery. I missed a Y there, but a point of delivery for the services the SBA offers to small businesses, all sorts of stuff. They'll talk to you about normal, government contracting or getting started in business. They'll talk to you about JVs and mentor protege if you're trying to go down that path. They'll talk to you about funding and maybe loans and that activity. They're there to support us. And so many of us don't know they exist, let alone reach out and talk to them. There's 3 people in there you want to get to know. The district director, and often they'll delegate, introduce you to people on their team. But the district director in your district, you want to get to know. So Larry Webb is an example. He and I shared a stage a few months back in the DC, Virginia area. And while we were on stage, it was really cool because I was coming from industry's perspective. He was coming from SBA's perspective. But the message he gave over and over again in his talk to like a couple hundred businesses in there was, we, our district office, are here to support you. Reach out to us. Ask us for help. If we can't help you directly, we will find the people who can help you. But they're one of the most knowledgeable people in the federal market for helping smalls. And so take the time to build that relationship. It's not just call them once, see if they answer your question, and then, that's the end of the first impression. No, build a relationship and know that your tax dollars are paying for for them to be there in those services. And sometimes you just need to build a relationship to get in. So district director. The next one is procurement center representative. PCRs are these people who have responsibility or oversight responsibility on different agencies. So an example is I was talking yesterday about how to get into the Army, and I was talking about Fort Benning, which is now called Fort Moore, I think. But how do I get in there? Well, I was able to find the PCR who has oversight responsibility over Fort Moore. And what it means by oversight is that anything that could go small business should go small business. And so these are the people who try to make sure that nothing is going full and open that could have really gone to small. And so the reason I say this is they have very tight working relationships with the small business professionals and the contracting officers within their areas of responsibility, their agencies and command. So the person I talked about yesterday, they had, 10 different military bases that they had responsibility for. If you're trying to get into that agency or into that base, these people are great advocates to help you. And the last one that I wanted to point out is the business opportunity specialist. All 8A firms know who their business opportunity specialist is, and they all have different opinions about how they are. But these people do a phenomenal job and they have a lot of capability. They're one or many business opportunity specialists within each district office. One of their main responsibilities is to manage the 8A program. So liaison with the small businesses and the 8A small businesses, make sure they're doing what they need to do, that kind of stuff, as well as helping them have success in the 8A program. But they don't only serve them. They also serve the rest of us. And so you can reach out. Something as simple as I'm trying to find 8As who are in the Army that you might know. Could you make some introductions to me? Well, they would love to make introductions to their 8A companies. They do it for agencies when the agencies reach out and say, hey, boss, do you know anybody? Right? And so get the time to know your district office and these 3 people, and you will find some really good advocates who can help you get in the door at agencies that you would like to pursue. All right, so the last thing I want to cover down on, and I'm going to show you how we do this, or how I do this, right, is if you're trying to get into an agency, and today's training is top 3 tips or people or relationships you can have to get into an agency door. If you're trying to get in, you got the small business professionals, you got the SBA district office, but you also have the companies that have already won within that agency. You can find companies that will be willing to talk with you, guide you, work with you, etc. And I call these winners, right? Just small business winners. We're all winners, but these ones are actually winning at your agency of choice, right? So how do you find them? Well, the place that I go is USA Spending, and I'll show you how to do that right now. I'll go into USA Spending and I'll find companies, small businesses that are around the world I'm looking for. And then I'll come out and I can go to GovCon in a box, and this is our tool set, right, to find people. And it's a free tool set. It always will be for finding people. You can go in there and find the people who work at these companies, name, number, and email. So then you can call them and say, hey, I'd like to try to get into this agency, or I'd like to build a relationship with you, blah, blah, blah. Let's go look how I do this. Okay, so this is USA Spending. If you don't know it, I'm going to go pretty fast, but it is one of the best tools to search on contracts that have been awarded. It pulls its data from FPDS. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just looking at companies that have won in the last year and a half. So let me show you the filters as I do it. So here I'm saying the time period is the last year and a half. I'm going to say the award type is contracts, because I don't need to see companies that are getting grants, loans, etc. And the other thing is I want to get into a particular agency. So let's just do the Army, because literally I am trying to help somebody get into the Army. And hey, why did I miss it? There it is. So I'll leave it at that. That's good. And then the next thing I want is recipient type. Remember, I'm trying to find small businesses that are winning. And in this case, I'm going to say small business as the checkbox and close that. Now, here's something that just experience has taught me, and I'm going to give you a tip on how I do this, is for some reason, the data is not always perfect. And sometimes these huge companies are sliding in. But what I'm really looking for, if I'm trying to get into a new agency and I'm really trying to find small businesses, I'm looking for companies doing, like, let's say 5 to 30 million at most. That range helps me ensure I'm not going after firms that are well over 100 million and probably the owner's no longer engaged. I kind of want to talk to the owner whenever I can. So I'm going to go here to award amount, and I'm just going to say custom amount here, and I'll just say 5 million. Hopefully I did that right, to 25, and put that in. So 5 million to 25 million, if you see that. And that's all I'm going to do for a second. Let me zoom out, and I'm going to hit submit on the search. So that's filters that I've done. Here's the fiscal years, the contract, the Army, and small businesses doing 5 to 25 million. So I got the results. And where I want to go is this second category where it says results by category. If I come in here, I can click this drop-down menu and see recipients. And so now I'm seeing these different companies, and I can see this company. It's funny, like right away, even though I did this, right away that company is popping up with 278 million. I have no idea why, and I'm not really tracking on that, but you can see I can start seeing these companies, and I can click next, 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 right, to see the next 10. But I might want to filter it down one more time saying, you know what I'm looking for is just companies that are somewhere in the IT space. And so I'm going to go here and add one more filter. And here I'm just going to add a NAICS code, and I'm just going to say 541. Let's do 611. 541-611. And I'm going to come up and hit search again. Let me zoom out really quick. It changed the search, and you can see here, right here, it added the NAICS code. I have one NAICS code with my other filters. And when I come down and I'm looking at recipients, now I'm looking at a different set of companies, and you can see 15 million, 12 million, 10 million. This is better for me, right? I could go a lot bigger, but a company that's doing 5 or 10 million, they're probably really open to having conversations because they know the value of teaming. They've subcontracted before probably to get to this stage. By the way, it doesn't mean these companies are 5 or 10 million. It means they've got 5 or 10 million in prime contracts, but they also might be subcontracting, doing commercial work, whatever. So this is a good one for me. Now what I want to do is to go out and maybe find some of these companies. So if I clicked on any of them, and I'm going to click on this one because I've never heard of them before. So I'm just going to click on them. And when I do, it comes up and I'm able to see, I don't need to go into a lot of information, but I'm able to go into here and find their UEI. And I'm just going to copy that. So now I've found the company through USA Spending. And I'm going to come back over here to GovCon in a box. If you're not familiar with our new tool, we're super excited. We just launched it. This part I'm going to show you is free, and it will be free forever. Finding teammates, because we're trying to promote networking, partnership, and teaming, right? But right here, number 3 is find teammates. If I click on that, I can come right in here, and at the top, I can search by UEI. So I'm just going to search that at the moment. And there they are. They're in Huntsville, Alabama, which helps me that. I can look here and briefly see some of what they do, and they're using keywords. And I go, okay, I see where they're going. It's interesting that they do oil and fuel analysis activity. So I'm going to click on them. I'm going to go in there and look at this company and see what they're doing. I'm able to come in and see that they're doing pretty good wins. They've had some good traction over the years. And if I come down to USA Spending, this is what I was looking at a minute ago. I'm able to see some of their traction, and I can see, DLA, which is defense. They're an Army, DLA, Army. Right away, I can start seeing that trend. And this data is being pulled from USA Spending. So I could see it over here as well. And I can see the spending patterns that they have. Anyways, let me bring it back up to the top. Right here, I can see that Billy is the primary point of contact. And so I got Billy's name, number, and email, and I can reach out and talk to them. I'm also able to see that they're on Oasis Small Business. So if that's helpful to me and I'm looking for opportunities, that's also a great way for me to do a little opener. And if I wanted to, I could click on the capability statement. But what I really want to do is just go check them out very quick on DSBS. So if I just hover near their name, I can open it in DSBS. And when I do, what I'm looking for is, are they small and are they going to stay small? So these guys have got a ton of experience. They've been around since '97. This actually could be a really good partner going forward. I can look in and right away, by the way, not that I'm the brightest person in the world, but I wasn't sure if Billy was man or woman. Here I can see, okay, it's a woman-owned small business. That kind of helps me. I can see they were in the 8A program a long time ago, which is really cool to see. And then the last thing I'm really looking for is I just want to see, are they a no for any of the NAICS codes? And they're not. So in a really pretty quick check, I'm able to find a company on USA Spending and then come over here into GovCon in a box and do a little quick research and find out, I like these guys. So I'm going to add Billy to the favorites here. And I'll be able to come back later. Like, imagine I was doing that with a couple others and I'm trying to reach out to the Army. Later, I can come back and start adding in or pursuing and reaching out to these people. This is what we call targeting, where you identify companies that are out there that are winning, build your list, and then call them all kind of one after the other. And it's a really efficient way to do it. All right, let me close that and then just wrap up with some last minute steps I really want you to pay attention to. If you're trying to get in agency doors more, these 3 relationships are fantastic for getting you in. Literally, this happens to me every single week where I'm using these. So the things I want you to remember are, go out there and start and build a relationship with small business professionals that are in your target agency. Then make sure you're also talking with your SBA district office, that PCR district director, and the business opportunity specialist. Meet that SBA district office group of people and build that relationship. Attend their virtual events. It's a great way to just be on their radar. They will remember you. I used an example of that company yesterday and today. Actually, if I use one more example, Nina, who is CEO of this company, was telling me a while back that the district office got contacted by an agency, and the agency reached out to her company and said, hey, can you guys help? So district offices will be able to provide, not every single time, but they certainly won't be able to help you if they don't know you. And the last thing I want you to do is build relationships with small business winners like we just walked through. Those winners remember what it's like to be you trying to get into an agency, and they'd be willing to help you at least have a meeting to talk about it, and then perhaps working together, building a strategic relationship that can lead to mutual success. Hopefully you found it valuable. Again, if you did, put a thank you or relationships rocks into the chat. If you're trying to accelerate your business and you're above $1 million, $2 million, then we've got a BD Accelerator workshop. Love to talk to you about it. You can just go to govconchamber.com and you'll see a way to learn more about it and fill out the application in there so that we can do a little research before we talk to you. Relationships and government contracting, they're not secrets. They're just processes. Hopefully you liked this process today. I will see you in next week's training.